Welcome back to Satisfactory. Today, for a bit of a change, just in between, scrappily constructing alkali sheets, I thought we'd just cover a slightly different thing, which is basically how to tidy up after this whole scrappy thing is gone. Because there are some new options in Update 3, and I haven't really covered them in depth, and I'd just like to. I showed them very briefly when Update 3 first came out, but last episode I asked about a particular problem I was having, tidying up in front of refineries. So you see I've got a refinery here. It's not a real refinery, we're not doing anything with it, so it's not disrupting our factory in any way. So it's nice to sometimes have a sort of, test bed platform, if you like. And this is it. And the problem I was having is I wanted to run pipes underneath the floors. And you can do that quite simply. You can just put floors down, looks like this. Okay. And then if we just put pipes down, we can, let me get the right pipe section. Where are you? Pipes, pipeline support. There we go. And then we can just connect a pipe to it, and we can just walk all the way over here. You can see I can connect it in like that. That does not really help with maintenance, though, does it? I mean, it's it works, but you can't then create junctions. Like if you have lots of refineries, I could connect this to one of them, but I don't have any control over this underneath the floor. But I could put it down here, for instance, and that would be a connected pipe, and that would work as far as that's concerned. But that's no good, okay? Now, the other issue, however, is that if I want to just, deal with things, I can't really just put the foundation back. If I put it in the opposite build direction, nope, it's not going to accept it because it's encroaching another clearance. So you might think we could do other things, and I get a couple of suggestions from commenters. Thank you very much. You know who you are. In fact, let me just tell you who they are. One was called Eat the Meek, and the other one was called Patrick Legault. And if I mispronounced Legault, I'm extremely sorry. I'm British. We tend to pronounce all kinds of foreign-sounding names extremely wrong. It's a cultural heritage, bridging from the British Empire, of course, where we unfortunately hurt lots of other cultures. We're perpetually sorry. Anyway, aside from that, where was I? Yes. You can think about creating the foundation frames. Now I have, thanks very much to those commenters, by the way, who's suggesting this kind of thing. We can create foundation frames like this. And first of all, that means we can see through things so that I don't have an issue. Of course, that doesn't help permanently because, well, I can fall through them, but we'll come back to that in a second. But the frames let me construct basically a pipe as before, and you can see I can now put this underneath, and it doesn't have problems. I can put connection pieces wherever I like. So let's say I put one over here. Just as before, this would have connected before, but now I can just edit whatever I like down here. Let's just say we want that's rather odd or horrible positioning, but I could put that piece down there. Okay, and there we go. And then can we actually connect that to here? Yes, we can. And put it into a vertical build mode. That's not quite what I would call vertical, though. That's sort of off, if anything. That's not vertical. How about conveyor 2D? Oh my, what is it actually trying to do? It does not like that whatsoever, does it? Yeah, whatever it's trying to do there, it's having problems connecting the two. It's trying to connect this thing at an odd angle, and it's not liking it. Regardless, that's that. So that's the junction. Now, with this, once we've laid everything where we want it to, and we can do the same thing with belts, by the way. Don't think this is just for pipe work, so if you had these, I may have to move this refinery back a little bit, but you get the idea. If I just put a belt pole down here, for instance, I can just grab a belt piece and run it all the way through. And again, I should be able to construct other things down here. So let's just bring it down. You'll see it has clearance. There isn't any clipping with the geometry. Slightly there, but that's forgivable. If you move it a little bit further over, it's not quite so much. It's going right through this steel beam and the brace beam kind of thing on the top. But this does look really nice. Furthermore, you can take that a little bit further and use the glass foundation on top of it. And so if you put it down and get it the right place, if I just choose the right part of this, you probably saw it briefly there. Let's just put it there. So you can see now this is quite attractive. It's walkable. I don't fall through. I can see the transparent sections of pipes. I can see what's in the pipe. That's where you get sections that are like blue for water, etc. And that's very, very handy. And I can easily rip this up and actually get to it without ripping up the whole frame and having everything else to redo. So I like that quite a bit. So that's good. Now, what someone else did, well, I think this was Eat the Meek who actually said, they posted an Imager link to basically a picture someone had done. And there is another combination other than this foundation frame that does let you clip through it quite a bit easier, apparently. Now, that is the corner ramps. There is see these corner ramp downs? Apparently you can use those and flip them upside down and reuse those. So let's bring that up and let's see if that looks any better. Okay, slightly new setup. I've got the glass flooring again because I really like this one. I also put in a regular foundation frame. You can do that just fine. Sorry, a regular foundation. 1 meter foundation, you can do that as well. You could even put the 4 meter foundations inside the foundation frame for some reason. If you really want to, you can fill them with whatever you like, pretty much. But if we have a look at what we have some options here, you can see that this has a junction. And I realigned the refinery just so that it isn't interfering with this beam, both for construction reasons and also that interfered with trying to select stuff. So yes, if you try and just select this and try and attach it, you'll see this is vertical build mode, but it's not 90-degree corners. And of course, we know we always want 90-degree corners. So we change this to conveyor 2D mode, and anywhere else, that's exactly what you might get in that kind of mode. It just fails here. Yep, it can't deal with that. Okay, and if we have anywhere else where we'd use vertical build mode, like here, yeah, that works. But as soon as we go here, it decides, nope, you're not vertical anymore. I'm just going to have this long slope. So yeah, the way you resolve that is by using a pipeline support. So if you want to use a pipeline support, like right here, for instance, again, you can then connect and it'll go vertical, connect here to here, and you have something that looks nice and goes straight underneath. Now, that solves pipes underneath floors, and you can fill them in with whatever you like here. We did get some suggestions from, I think this was Patrick, who basically said you can fill to basically these frames with the corner ramps. You can get 2 of these inside one frame. And you can put them both in at the same time, and they apparently will let you clip through. So I'm just going to test that for a second. Let's just get rid of this and get rid of you. And let's see what happens if I try that instead of this glass foundation. Let's see what happens. Of course, I'll have problems because I won't be able to see this. There is no, as far as I know, there's no glass version of this corner ramp, or indeed the rest. I would like glass to be sort of a... It maybe need a rearrangement as they get further on with this game. There's maybe suggestions more for the devs than for the players, but the type of material, glass versus concrete, seems like a separate thing to the shape of the material. So, if you have ramps like this, well, why not make them of glass or dirt or sand or whatever other material that you want? Sort of seems like it should perhaps be independent of the thing. That's just a sort of observation I've got after actually playing the game a little while. Maybe you'll have different opinions. Put them in the comments below. More than happy to hear them. That just seems like a very easy thing to think of. The same way that I think that the depth of these things shouldn't really need to be separate items like this. The more varieties you want in here, the more you're going to have to search for things, the more you're going to have to try and select them off a longer list. You may just want to have the depth selection, like there's 3 depths here, there's 3 depths here, there's 3 depths here, there's 3... You see what I mean? It's almost like a separate selection, a separate axis of selecting things. So yes, there's that. Anyway, it's not really a rant, but that aside, we can put in a ramp like this, and you can see it's facing down, but we can also put one in this side as well, and it looks... sort of slightly different. You got this diagonal effect. I just want to see if that's any different as far as clipping this thing through here is concerned. No, you see that still clips like that, but still does not like conveyor 2D mode. So as far as that's concerned, I don't think that's any different, and I kind of prefer the glass. So if I'm missing something out there in this whole thing, please do let me know. But as far as that's concerned, I do like the glass, and then we just have to do that whole construction with, well, there we go. That whole construction with just making sure we have one support down. And what I'm not sure of is if it actually is a valid pipe if I do this, then this, and then remove that. Because that looks nicer for me. Whether that's valid or not, I'll have to try it. But that would be kind of my ideal construction order. One frame, one piece of glass after I've put in whatever junctions I want, and then have the pipe come out. Now that leaves the belts. Now, of course, if you want the belts, and this is just talking about tidying again, if you want the belts nice and tidy, you can do what we've done everywhere else in the factory so far. You can have it so that they come out to maybe here and run along the top. You can't really run them along this channel here. You can use this for transiting stuff through the factories if you want to use this space as a kind of a attractive way of moving stuff, but actually adding stuff to it, there just isn't enough room there. And let me show you why. So if I just go to here, for instance, and I just go to logistics, we can grab, I don't know, a conveyor lift or something. I can basically connect it to this. This is the output, and then go down and down. I can select it going that way. Cool, yeah, and that will work, and it will go this way, and then you get a second refinery, and where does it go? Because your space is used up. The space you want for the belt is used up by this. Not going to be enough room. So if you want to do that, you can't. However, and I'm being a little bit sneaky here, once you've built your refineries, there is no... Whoa, no. Forgot I didn't build the floor quite as... it's a test bed. It's a test bed. I didn't build the floor as solid as these. I'll have to run around. And the belts aren't even as fast as they used to be. I missed getting launched off into the stratosphere. Never quite realised why that happens. Maybe it's just like relative speed when you actually hit it combines with your player speed in some ways. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yes, let me just put this foundation back so I don't fall through again. There we go. Oh, by the way, I did get a comment from one of my very first episodes on this second series saying, I'm sorry, I just can't deal with all the bunny hopping. I don't even realise I do it. As I'm actually running around, I'm bouncing. Like this, for instance, this is a way to jump even taller than you normally can. And I'm doing that while I'm actually thinking. So if that really irritates people, I'm sorry. I don't realise I'm doing it. Do let me know in the comments below if it bothers you. Anyway, well, let's put the glass foundation back, and hopefully we can just get that connected. It may not have it may have a problem because this, this pipe work is now actually, because the pipe is now there. It needs to have that bit removed. Okay, so let's assume that that's been redone. I'm not going to put the pipe back in now. So now we need to get rid of everything coming out of this and go down and somewhere else. What I was just figuring of, I've seen some particular layouts that basically fold the outputs, or indeed the inputs, underneath the machines themselves. So again, back into this sort of space underneath your machines, we can do the same thing. So let's just get that production going. So we want the logistics. We want a any conveyor lift will do. And again, let me just remove that glass. That's going to be after the final step in whatever we do. Conveyor lift Mark III, going down, and now it's going to be coming out this way. Okay, a little bit of clipping there. But it's going to clip to the entrance. It's not going to clip the belt specifically, but then we're underneath and we can do our usual kind of logistics stuff. So if we just scroll down, we can cover a merger. This is an output, so we may as well merge it. And let's just say we merge it right to here. This is going to be right in the middle, I think. Yeah, the middle is going to be important in a second. Okay. And then the next one along, of course, we can do the same thing as you would normally expect here. There's nothing weird about this, and we can. Maybe we'll have to put this in first, but we can put frames in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that before I put this in. Let me just get rid of that for a second. Make sure this is actually going to work. Yeah, frames. Foundation frame, there we go. And this is what I said about having it in the middle here. We want to have room for our logistics. There we go, conveyor merger, and still works. Yep. Still can select this side, still can select this side. It's slightly higher. I don't mind that whatsoever. Being slightly higher. I've got a roof in the way. And then, you know, we've got a route to send things underground. Now, of course, you can fill that in with that glass again if you want to, but because of buildings on top of it, I'd probably suggest maybe we want something a little bit more in theme, and we might want to fill it with whatever we can or whatever it'll actually accept. There we go. There we go. So now it clips to only the top of this. It looks in theme. It fits with everything else. It looks identical, but now everything is ordered. We have the output going down, back under itself, and across. And at that point, everything is just completely hidden. You have a nice glass cover over your pipeline, and will that actually connect here? It looks like it will connect. Yes. Okay. And that means I should be able to put this glass back, I think, at some point. Maybe? Oh no, other clearance. I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. Yeah, that may not accept this through the glass. That may be the problem. And this is where the ramps come in. Remember when I said that, sorry, I wasn't aware what you were actually talking about. Yep, you can put ramps in with all the other geometry there. And that does mean that you can create a walkable surface once you get the right point to aim your mouse at. You know, that's not always the easiest in this particular case, but we should be able to get a mouse. There we go. So it's still like this concrete, but now you have that completely hidden, okay, going through the concrete, through these ramps, which will allow clipping. This, which will have a perfectly sort of merged output, and we don't necessarily need it to be over this side unless we want another belt running through here. We can have it be exactly where this one is and have them be level with each other if you wanted to, or indeed in the middle, wherever you wanted to put it. It's fine. But I like that a lot better than what we were doing previously, whereby the belt was going up and down over a pipeline, little bits and pieces. It does take a little bit more effort to construct. So if you're a perfectionist, if you're someone who likes things to really look good, then you have this other approach, and there is no different to the inputs as to the outputs. So you can do exactly the mirrored thing on the other side, as far as I know. So that makes refineries, and indeed any of the new blocks in Update 3, any of the new buildings in Update 3 that have inputs that are fluids, able to look good. So I hope you like that quick guide to sort of how to construct that if you want them underground. If you want them overhead, you can use any of the previous stuff we've done. But hey, I think that's a nice alternative, so thanks to the commenters. And while I'm on not necessarily a rant, but a sort of features sort of drive for devs, I've been doing some things with the double-sided wall double-sided wall power connection. Very nice. I do like them. What I don't like is they still have to clip through things, which means either I've got to clip through or not have anything on the outside of a building. For example, I can get rid of that and they won't clip through things anyway because it'll just go straight up, and that's perfectly fine. I've got that temporary wall section there, but if we look inside, you can see everything. Well, in fact, I've still got this power pole here, but once we get see if there's a Mark II version of these. If there is, that'll be good. By the way, it doesn't say when you're actually staring at these necessarily, because these, if you do I don't know, power connection, it'll tell you this is 3 of 4. However, if you do that with a power connector, it doesn't say how many are connected to it, but it is 4. If you have a look here, can handle up to 4 power line connections. So for these, I just recommend on the inside maybe putting 4 in each of the corners and then connecting them on that floor, probably up near the ceiling of whichever floor you'd like. The suggestion I was going to say is that it would be nice if they could go through foundations, or specifically roof to ceiling kind of rotations or something, mainly because you can then have them on the inside and going up the inside of your building through the foundations if you're making tall buildings, and then you don't have to glue the outside up with power pole connections like this. However, this is a much nicer alternative to these everywhere, I think. I hope you'll agree. And well done, devs, for actually having this. It's like as someone said in the comments, it's like the Fallout 4 power connections, but these actually work and aren't buggy as heck. Yes, I agree entirely. I like the Fallout 4 ones. I think that's probably what prompted this. I know I mentioned it in a video earlier, saying if they could have the Fallout 4 like connectors, that would be great. I assume lots of other people did, because it seems like a very obvious thing in retrospect. So yeah, they're another nice things to put up the factories, and yeah, good one anyway in having them in there. But more options for power lines would be great. Again, if we wanted to use those underfloor supplies for buildings, you could build those same routes through like here, for example, and you could have materials coming in rather than these belts like that, or indeed underneath the foundation layer and bring them up through frames in the floor, which we never had option before, and we can fold them underneath machines in whatever orientation that particular building is in. So we may want to rebuild buildings at some point, or rebuilding the inputs and the outputs of the buildings to make it look like, well, basically you don't even see any of these on the outside, at least not for the final run. The final lift that sends them elsewhere to other buildings will just go into the floor. One final option for underfloor factories or underfloor supply areas that I had was to basically do this. If we're going to be extending factories upwards, if you want to get rid of all the geometry to make a really flat factory floor, and lots of people have, they've just done it by just having floating foundations. That's sort of horrible, but really you had an option of just building a giant stack of foundation blocks, which looks ugly, like this kind of thing. Or just basically having them floating like an infinitely strong, rigid surface, which of course nothing really is. So everything's like springs in real life, no matter how hard it seems. But with these pillars, you're now able to do a bunch of other things, and that strikes me as a kind of nice option that we could allow for. You could have an underfloor area, but you could also have frames, from a thematic point of view, of course, underlying here, gantryways with pipes in them. You could put this underneath these floors, and indeed, because these frames are stackable just like anything else, and you can get into them, you can play around inside those to your heart's content. Put them like here, like this, and then you can obviously put the floor in and play around with attachment points wherever you actually want to in this. Of course, these frames run both ways, so it seems like if I just go here, see, I can go that way or this way, and there's a clear space in between them all. No space up and down, unfortunately, but otherwise that is fine. And it all quite matches with the sort of industrial aesthetic of having these gigantic pillars holding up the rest of your factory. And of course, they're not all that expensive either. They're just concrete like everything else, but they just look a great deal better. So this kind of thing, if you want an industrial side sort of style of building, or underneath a building, whether it's foundations or indeed holding up a giant platform, sort of like Final Fantasy VII. Speaking of which, Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out soon. Very happy. Childhood memories of Final Fantasy VII being on 17 CDs, 3 CDs or something. Now it's just on the Switch as a download. Incidentally, it's going to be like 3 or 4 Blu-rays as well, apparently. So, and that's only the first part of the game that they're selling to you. So yeah, feeling a bit weird about that. But anyway, ignoring RPGs for the moment. This kind of aesthetic I do quite like, and maybe we'll see some more of that. Depends what you guys think, and maybe if you have any suggestions in the comments about other sort of nice options with the sort of, well, these are somewhat cosmetic, but they do allow us different combinations in getting everything clipped together nicely and assembled in the factory. So I'm a fan of that. So yeah, this is quite nice, and we may well use it as and when we create further parts of the base. Indeed, you could even have a giant building on top of these if you wanted to. So yeah, that's that good. We'll get that done in probably upcoming episodes, as and when I redo things to improve the speed of things, to tidy up the refineries, and of course getting into new stuff. Now, speaking of new stuff, we may as well end this episode. Let's go and see if I've got all the computers for this advanced aluminium. I think I'm going to have the motors. That shouldn't be much of an issue. Yeah, there's a stack of 50 right there, so we can just dump that in. Let's complete this up and get some more progress. So there's the motors. The icon has changed. I'm not sure if that's really, really recent, but as a few days ago, that was the old icon. But now I thought it was a new item that it needed, But no, it's the same thing, and that's that done. I'll go and check their computers. I only have 11 on me, but that only leaves like 31 left anyway. And I also started some research, but it's probably existing research that just gets redone. And just basically analysis of the various bits and pieces. I did alien organisms, which is just the organs that you get from killing things as you walk around. That leads towards the rebar gun. I never found the rebar gun very attractive. It was alright, I suppose, but more importantly, expanded tool belt with an extra hand slot. I certainly would be happy with that. So I am going to go and quickly get that, or get it started, I should say. Whoops. This is the other reason why it would lead me to less bunny hopping if I had everything off the floor in here. Then I couldn't, well, I wouldn't need to bunny hop. What's attacking me? Why is there a bee? What? That's the other thing about this update 3. Any plants that you destroyed that were like spawners, or indeed plants in general, have reappeared. So you've got to be a little bit careful about that. Is there no power? No power. Yeah, I need to go and fix something. Thanks very much to a commenter. They did say that I did have a power problem because I didn't have enough pipes coming from my water extractors. That's now fixed, but it still causes issues. And I'm going to have to redo that in an upcoming episode anyway. But for now, that's fine. I can just dump this into here. I don't think the MAM actually takes any power, so we should be good to go. Alien organisms, extra tool belt, start research, away you go. That's 5 minutes gone. And I have one hand slot. I'll get another one. I want another body slot for the jetpack and the Blade Runners. Please, please. And I did have 41 already constructed, so that will work perfectly well. For us to finish off this research at the end of the episode. Even though I've been talking most of this episode about tidying up, I do like that. It makes me feel a lot better to have some options whereby everything just looks really, really well laid out. Even though I'm not always like that, even though I do like to say 90-degree corners, I'm just not like that in real life. I just really like it sometimes for construction games. Makes me feel better. Makes it think like I'm able to do things that are better than normal. Anyway, there we go. Milestone unlocked. And there we go. New buildings and new parts. Okay, so advanced aluminium parts can now be produced, which are necessary to build the Miner Mark III. Good. So the Miner Mark III is going to need those. So production Miner Mark III is new. So we are going to need the turbo motors. Okay, and that in turn is going to need other things that we can't make yet. It's the other two, basically, sub-components. I can't remember the name of them. One's the battery and there's another one as well. So that's that done. Alternative fluid transport. Yes, I do want to cover this one in this episode as well. I may have mentioned in a previous episode, and this is, again, another commenter that's triggered this. I may have mentioned in another episode that, depending on what these ratios are, unless you balance things perfectly, you're probably going to get in excess of one fluid or another. So you drive yourself to, expand perfectly, and it's a pain. It really, really can be a pain, especially now because liquids can't really be... Well, they can be buffered. You do have fluid buffers. Are they in here? Organization, I think. Yeah, industrial fluid buffers. They're not very big, and you can build lots of them, I suppose, but it's a balance problem. Eventually, you can't get rid of stuff. However, it does strike me, and it did strike a commenter as well there, that you can just use this particular thing here, the milestone, to choose packaged stuff. So you can package oil or heavy oil residue or, well, pretty much those. If you have excesses of those, you can package them up and you can store them in regular containers, but you could also void them. Now, voiding in Satisfactory used to involve loading them into a vehicle and driving it off the edge of a cliff into the nothingness that appears occasionally through the map. Is that a live animal? It is. I'm not going to worry about it. Driving cliff off into nowhere, and that's going to probably be what people did prior to Update 3 as far as nuclear waste is concerned, but well, in fact, it may still be the case for nuclear waste. Depends how sneaky the developers were. Coffee Stain Studios, that is. However, you can just feed stuff into this thing, and it'll probably give you coupons eventually. So hopefully, if stuff is still allowed in here, we can have coupons for excess. So if you ever have anything over, and it's blocking up the rest of your factory in some way. Like fluids, for instance, you want to make sure, because maybe it's a byproduct and you actually need the other product out of your refinery, you want to get rid of this other fluid that's blocking up your pipes. Well then, package it up, throw it into a coupon machine, and hey presto, assuming that it actually accepts them. And that's why I was thinking about nuclear waste. When you have nuclear waste in the game, you may actually want to try and put it in a coupon machine by all means. If people have it at that tier right now, please go and try that. Do you get coupons for discarding waste into this thing? Because if so, it's great. It's a void machine, and occasionally you get a coupon. We don't need to worry about any other thing other than that. So that's that one. That leads us on to nuclear power and a hazmat suit. Well, probably a hazmat suit is worthwhile sooner. And this has actually turned out to be quite easy. We have to wait for the pod to return, but alclad, quick wire, rubber. Already have all of those things and already have that amount of quantity. The alclad, of course, we'll have in a box over the other side of the factory. So having a hazmat suit, it's in the body slot. Now I need 3 body slots. I need a hazmat suit with a jetpack on and blade runners. I'm sorry, they just need to be upgraded. Think like Subnautica. That's another game I need to get back to, because there is that new ice version that was very underdeveloped when I actually first tried it. Anyway, I'll have to do that another day. But the main next thing, of course, is going to be nuclear power. So we have to deal with that coming up, and that will solve my power problems probably the but we'll have to have that hazmat suit on when we actually go and get stuff. However, this will let us scan for uranium and sulfur. Sulfur will take us down the explosive route, and it will also lead us to the rifle, which has bullets that you can... well, let's just say eliminate things at a range with, as long as you have enough bullets, because they chew through them, apparently. In fact, I remember them chewing through things in the previous series. So, we want to get all of this unlocked, and that will be meaning we need to get high-speed connectors. You can see down there, that is relatively easy, where we've already got all 3 of those components. Quick wire, cable, circuits. Quick wire is over here. The other 2 are over near the computers, so we'll probably bring the quick wire from here. It's just in a temporary building next to the MAM. A temporary setup next to the MAM. And AI limiter is copper sheet and quick wire. So again, we'll probably just take the quick wire back over towards the computer area instead of bringing it here. And we know we've already got copper sheet over by the computer area. It's used for other things. So both of those things are easy enough to make, and if they're coming in, they're going to be 3 ingredients, so it needs to be, it's going to need to be one of the very large machines to actually make it, I suspect. But assuming we have both of those, we're obviously making the rest. Just a lot of stuff, basically. So we'll concentrate next episode on building both of these, getting that up and running, while these 2 gets constructed in the background. I probably have most of those heavy module frames already, but that will then unlock us basically nuclear power. Before we do that, though, I probably want to select this as the next milestone. And when it comes back, we can just dump everything we like in there. I can't dump it in yet, but we already have the rubber, etc., and can use that. So hope you liked today's episode. We got a fair amount of organizational options done, I think, as far as getting things underground and hidden and nicely, neatly organized. We finish off the research for our alclad aluminium sheet, and we can use this to unlock the hazmat suit. Why need aluminium in a hazmat suit? I don't know. Maybe just because lead isn't in the game. They have to have some kind of metal, and it's an advanced metal, because bauxite was very hard to actually extract from until relatively recent in human history. If you ever wonder why, well, aluminium is so cheap now, but a lot of it used to be a very, very precious metal. There used to be stuff made from aluminium, which we just laugh at because we have tin cans and tin foil, aluminium foil, aluminium cans. It's nothing to do with tin, just a British colloquialism. Yeah, if you look into the history of that, people used to have various objects made out of it and show it off as if, look at my aluminium plate. You know, these days it's like, wow, yeah. But of course, things like gold retain the value. So yeah, quite interesting. That leads you down another black hole on YouTube at 3 a.m. when you're supposed to get to work the following day. Regardless, thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you next time for probably heading towards nuclear power now. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, give it a thumbs up down below. And next episode, well, maybe I'll get some more of your comments by this point. How much aluminium sheet have I got? Did I send it back? You know, it's not over here, is it? I just sent the aluminium all the way back. Never mind. I am sometimes an idiot. It happens. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.